So, hello. Today, I want to talk about the four initiations of women. So, women have four different archetypes, and four different archetypes that are initiated almost naturally on a biological level and a psychological level at four different phases of her life. And men have the same. That is a different topic for a different time. But I'm going to talk about women because I'm focusing on the feminine archetypes. So, the first archetype for a woman is the maiden. The maiden is initiated during adolescence, so the age of 14 to about 21. This is when the maiden is initiated, but she also grows. So it's also the onset of menarche, meaning the first menstrual cycle. So that is the maiden phase. The maiden is a development of the sensuality in a woman, the learning to socialize, how to relate to other women, how to understand herself, how to understand her needs, how to place boundaries. So we find that women or girls at this age, they're learning the art of setting boundaries. They're learning the art of saying no, because also psychologically developing, they're emotionally developing, they're learning the art of going through the emotions. So you see at that age, you will have a big outburst of hormonal things like emotional outbursts and very catty behavior. There's nothing wrong with it. Women are they're learning to socialize, and that is a beautiful process when it's taken through and initiated in the right way. So the second stage, the second phase, or the second archetype is the maternal archetype, is the mother archetype. That starts to awaken at about the age of, late or mid to late 20s to about the age of 50s. Something very, very interesting is happening right now in society because of how women have been so disconnected from their body. Women have been told, you have to chase your career, you have to build your you have to get financial security, and you have to find equality as a man, you have to be stronger than them in certain respects. Women have been thrust into this entirely different domain, while on the other side, on a very biological level and a psychological level, they are being initiated into the mother archetype, the maternal archetype. There's a lot of them that so if you're a woman, you will know, and you're about the age of 30 or 32, you will start to see this as well. This deep brooding to have a child. And if this gets worse and it becomes almost painful when you don't have the ability to have a child, or when you are in a relationship that is not supportive of having children, or you decide on a logical level that you don't want children, you will start to see biological changes within the body. There will be this desperation, there will be this need to have a child, to mother. What is happening is the maternal archetype is being initiated and it's being developed. And women get into this phase where they break off their relationships as well, when they start to feel this desire to have children, because the parts of them that wants children is a very, very primal part, and you can't disconnect with it. You can't disown it. It's a part of you. It's like saying, I don't want my body anymore, so I'm going to just take my mind away from my body. It doesn't work that way. So women will experience a deep pain, and when this maternal archetype is not properly initiated and not developed in the way that it needs to develop. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to have children. I'm saying it has to be that archetype within ourselves, on a psychological level, on a spiritual level, needs to come into its wholeness. It needs to come into and flourish into its wholeness. That's the thing that needs to happen. So the fourth archetype is the queen archetype, and it's often interrelated to the mother, but the queen is, so if you think about it in older traditions, when a mother has raised her children or has nourished her children, and the children are at that age now to go out into the world and fend for themselves, the mother is the empty nest now. There's this empty nest syndrome that we have in society, but it's not about being an empty nest. Let me tell you what it is about. The queen archetype develops at this stage. So once a mother has completed her role as a direct maternal or archetype or influence on her own children, she begins to develop the queen archetype. When you think about the queen, you think about an empress who takes care of more than her immediate environment. She takes care of an entire nation. So the queen archetype is about taking care of the larger community. You're not so much involved with the everyday taking care of your children, but you're more in tune with the needs of the community, the society. This is when she starts to look beyond herself. She starts to offer herself in service to a world, or to a space that is bigger than her own, space that is beyond her own womb. So this is when the queen archetype develops. That's about the age of 45 to about 50 to 60. Now, when you reach 60, the fourth archetype begins to mature. And this is the menopausal menopausal stage. So the queen would be in the perimenopausal, and the menopausal stage is when the crone archetype develops. And the crone archetypes is the healer. She is not only focused on the community, she is the wise woman in the community. She initiates the maiden, the mother, the queen, and herself even into this new phase of life. The crone is all about service. She's all about giving back, but she knows how to do it in a beautiful, simple way. Have you seen grandmas who are really they're quite bold, they're quite boisterous, they're quite witty, and they don't give a damn, or they don't give an F. They just do what they want, and they teach the younger generation how to not take things seriously, but also they know they have the wisdom, they have the learning, they have the healing in them to initiate the healing in the maiden, the mother, and the queen. So these are the four different archetypes that a woman experiences and has within herself, and she uses that, or she must develop it. If not, it backfires on her own physical body. When we don't properly initiate the maiden, we struggle with our periods. How many women have you heard hate their periods? How many women have a bad relationship with their actual menstrual cycle? And when we don't fully develop the mother, we struggle with things like infertility. When the maiden is not properly initiated, not properly healed, the mother cannot actually develop into her wholeness. And what happens is we struggle with infertility, or painful periods, or very, very difficult pregnancies. And all of this affects our physical body. It affects our lifestyle. It affects the quality of life. So it is important that as women, as we go through these different phases, we initiate ourselves. And if we can't initiate ourselves, we don't know where to start, then look for someone who can help you. Look for someone who can guide you through that process. And that is what I do with my clients. I guide them through the process of initiating these archetypes within themselves. making them come into wholeness and completeness, and releasing them into the world as service, as this creative, nourishing, beautiful force in the world. That is, you can't ignore her. She's in her power. She's not equal to or better than. She's just in her power, and that is magnetic.